Hi friends, hope you're well and everything. Thanks for popping by. Today I'm going to try to make a patchwork dress, and what it is I'm going to use up lots of fabric that I've got in the hope that it'll come out and look like this dress. And I was fortunate to get this pattern, and it's a McCalls pattern number 7073. I think it's an old one, but you'll probably be able to find it online. Okay, and what I thought about doing is this lovely dress here. Okay, hope you can see that. And what it is, it's almost like using different pattern pieces and different fabrics to make almost like a patchwork effect dress, or several different patterns to the dress. I thought it looks really lovely. It's similar kind of shape and design to some dresses that I've made before. So you've got a nice round neck, cap sleeves, and sort of a fitted bodice with a gathered skirt. I'm not sure if I'm going to put pockets in or not, but how nice is that? It's quite complex in the fact that it says on the back, this is dress view D. The yardage or the meterage, which is obviously in foreign language, so I'm going to go on that obviously, but you've got colour 1, colour 2, colour 3 and colour 4. So colour 1 is for right bodice front, right front facing, bodice back and back facing, and 2 sections of the skirt. Then a colour 3 would be left bodice front, left front facing, and 2 skirt sections. And then colour or pattern number 3, colour number 3, right sleeves and 2 skirt sections, and colour 4 would be cut out for the left sleeve and 2 skirt sections. So there's quite, obviously 4 choices of fabric here, and you'd cut them out for different pieces. Now that's depending on if you have got the right amount of meters of fabric for each of your colours. And what I'm trying to do is use up some fabric that I've bought, and I've kept it in a sort of a colour range which I thought would be ideal for this dress pattern now. I bought some of these a bit of time ago, but what I've done is looked at all the colours and shades and thought, okay, they're not large enough amounts of fabric to make really anything that I want. It would be ideal for this dress pattern that I've recently picked up, so hopefully it will work out for that. So on this, where it says meterage, let me read you that. So I'm based it on a 12 to 14 UK size, and it says you need, if it's 115 wide centimetres, I'm going to base it on that. 1.6 metres of fabric 1, 1.3 metres of fabric 2, and 1.3 metres of fabric 3, and 1.3 metres of fabric 4. So you want quite a bit, don't you? So what's that? 160, 290, 390, 420, 520, 550. Wait a minute. 550, I think. I'll do it again. 160 and 130 is 290, 130, 3, 420 and 130. Right, 550. 5 meters 50, which is a lot of material, isn't it, altogether? But if I can sort of use this fabric up, I'll be great. So I've measured my fabric, and at the minute I've got some nice fabric here, and I managed to get it off a D-stash lady. So this is this is patchwork, and I've only got, now you see the thing is I haven't got the right width here. I've only got 93 centimetres by 62. So I'm going to have a little bit of a jig about, aren't I? Because I won't be able to probably do all of that because I've been based on 115 wide, haven't I? So this is what I've started with, and there's only 93 by 62. But it is long enough to do, in my opinion, I've not put the pattern out yet, but it's long enough for me, with me being tall, to do that section from just under the bust, the skirt section. I should get 2 panels of this in the length, going down from sort of here to the where just past my knee. 2 of those. So that's one of them, which I think is beautiful because it's like a patchwork, and this is where the inspiration came from for the colours. So we've got that. So as I say, what I'm going to do there is on that colourway, I'm going to have to find another fabric to do the sections that I haven't got enough for. So for example, it's one of the skirt patterns. So we said view D for the dress. So for example, colour 3 would be right sleeves and 2 skirt sections. So if I can only do 2 skirt sections, I'm going to have to find something else that will do the right sleeves, won't I? And if there's a slight bit left, all I can do maybe is just put maybe a little bit of a frill or some kind of part of this, even a thin strip, maybe on the bottom of the sleeve or something, just to get it so it pulls it all together. So, you know, it's a mathematical little puzzle when you're doing these things, isn't it? So that's the first one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put them on the screen here so you can see them all together. So that's the first one. Let's drape them over here and then I'll do you a little shot of it. And then this is the next one that I've just picked up, and it's a little polycotton blue floral, really pretty, and I think I've got 3.5 yards of that, so that's going to be my main bit where I bulk it up. Now with it being a polycotton, this dress is going to be thin, isn't it? So I'll have to have a nice undergarment on there with it, nice underskirt or something. So I'm going to lay them all out so you can have a nice good look how they all kind of marry together. So what you do is you find your base fabric, and then what you're going to do is find ones that pull all the fabric colours together. The next one's a nice plain blue navy, and this blue one, I think I've got 3.5 metres or so I've got a lot of that. This plain blue is 113 by 101, so it's just under the 115 centimetres wide fabric. I'm just hoping that'll be okay, because that's literally about 1 metre. You see, we're struggling, aren't we? We're going to have to probably mix and match again, but that's the beauty of this all. But I like that, so that's going to go. So that again, another bit of, that's dark blue. I could pull all that together. Then we've got this one, which is a nice little brown print. It's really pretty, like an orangey brown. And that one, brown floral, is 91 centimetres by 107. So again, slightly less than the 115, isn't it? So what I'm gonna have to do, all the pieces that I require, cut out, and then literally just probably put it on the floor, lay it all out, and just see what I can do and how I can do it. Then I've got this one, again, totally, you'd think, oh gosh, totally random colours, but remember again, the patchwork, it's pulling it all together. So you need one colourful fabric. Now this one, blue floral, only 50 centimetres by 150. Nice and wide the material, but less on the width of this again. So again, we're going to have to be mindful, aren't we? So we'll pop that one up like that. And then our old faithful, where you'll see that I've made a couple of dresses from this. Super king sized duvet cover, and I've got 2 videos out if you want to look back at the other videos of dresses made out of this. So I want to use the rest of it up now, but what a faithful piece, it just keeps giving. It just keeps giving. So yeah, so that's going to go on as well. And then I've got this lovely beautiful curtain panel. Now a problem now I've got with this, and I would love to put this in, it's so beautiful. Just look at that. I mean, anybody who knows me just knows that I love roses. Look at that beautiful panel of fabric and the colours, which would go really well in here, but the fabric is different. All those are almost like a very thin cotton. The 100% cotton, with the exception of the polycottons, which is obviously a cotton and polyester blend, of course, which is very light, whereas this is thick. But if there's any way I could incorporate this in, I would be really happy. And I was thinking, well, maybe I could just make the sleeves, you know, make some puff sleeves with it and add it in onto the bodice, and maybe a belt or something to go around the dress. Don't know, because I feel like if I put it as a long panel, it could drag or make the lighter cotton pucker. So if you've got any tips on that, let me know. But that's probably too late to ask you that if I'm doing the video, isn't it? I might put a message up, you know, to ask everybody's advice about that first. But this would go beautiful. So I'm going to put that up anyway. So let me show you. So this is all of the fabrics together. So you can see how they all kind of marry. And looking at them individually, you might be thinking, gosh, they're not going together. But they do, because you've got all colours, you know, balanced out. This main one here has got every single shade that's in all of those. So that's pulling it all together. You know, it's like if you were to put this with just this, you'd probably think it looked ridiculous. But because all these kind of have got key shades, the colours all blend together, don't they? So this is what I'd like to do. And as I say, hopefully it's going to work out all right. Because the pattern looks fantastic. And this is your pattern. Okay, so you know it's got 4 colours, and then each one of those prints are represented in the top as well, so it pulls it all together. It's a lovely pattern. This is a beautiful one. It's almost like it's got buttons down there, and then it opens up to reveal a beautiful undergarments. That's beautiful. And then this one's more like a lacy sort of white number. And that's a nice printed one. And that's probably two-way one as well. It's McCalls. And it's 7073. And this is the amount of fabric that you need. Okay. So that's my plans. And I'll bring you along and we'll see how it turns out. Right friends, this is taking some jiggling about as I had presumed, but I've cut out now the bodice top. This is going to be the front, so we've got one of them in the floral, and then because this is thin, what I'm going to do is cut 2 pieces of this, sew them together so they're double thickness, and then I think it's back to front, so you can't actually see, but obviously half of that and half of that with all those colours is going to be really good. So I think that's going to work well with the colouring there. So I'm just sorting that piece out now. Then I was going to do the sleeves in floral, but I thought no, there's enough of that now. So what I'm going to do now is think I want a blue fabric for the florals, because there's brown on the floral and a design on the front. On the back you just cut one whole piece double, cut in 2. So I've chosen the navy blue, and that'll be for the full back. I've got the 8 mixed panels of all pieces, and I've not been able to do it exactly as long as I would have liked because I'm tall, so I may actually put a ruching on the bottom. We'll see how long it becomes. But I've got this one, that one, plain blue, blue floral, sky blue with the flowers on, and the vintage fabric. Then one of the lovely patchworks, and then another vintage fabric, and that's 8 panel pieces for the skirt. So what I thought of doing, instead of doing this sleeve, which I thought would look lovely, and it's a shame because I've scented it so beautifully, do it in a dark fabric, the blue, to bring it all together. So I might cut it out in this. If I can get one out of this, we'll have one sleeve of that. Yeah, that's lovely. So I'll have one of that sleeve, and then another one. Can't get that, but I can probably get one in this blue. So I think I'll just do one in that, so you're getting the blue on the top as well. Obviously I've got that brown sleeve cut out as well, and then there's lots of facing pieces which I'm just doing in anything I come across. You know, it's okay because it's inside facing anyway. Okay, so that's where I am up to now. Really, you've got to give it some serious thought when you're cutting and trying to get all your pieces if you're doing all these multi colours. And if you are buying it, you know, obviously you can do it a lot easier, but I've been using all scraps, of course. But there's a nice set of colours there, I must admit. Right, so back to McCall 7073. And this is called Learn to Sew for Fun pattern. So I've just got all the pattern instructions out because I cut the pattern yesterday. I'll just show you them because they're really good. So it's 7073 and it shows you the dress. I am going to do the D, as we said before. And it says Learn to Sew for Fun, and all the patterns come with some great advice. So number 1, preparing your pattern. Press the tissue with dry iron. Write your name on the centre of each pattern piece if working in a class situation. Cut the pattern pieces apart if needed, leaving a tissue margin all around the pieces. Compare your body measurements to those listed on the back of the pattern envelope. Back, waist and finished garment. The length of the garment should be adjusted before placing the pattern pieces on the fabric. Multi-size patterns. So it's a multi-size one, cut to the correct size. And the cutaway lines, if the design has a short or long version, there'll be cutaway lines for the short version. If choosing the shorter version, cut the tissue on these lines before laying pattern pieces on the fabric, or to lengthen it, cut the pattern on the dotted lines of the easy rule guide. Measure and spread the necessary amount. Tape to a piece of paper and draw new cutting lines. Be sure to make the same adjustments on the related pieces. So I've done that, but I'm loving this pattern because it gives you some great instructions, just really like for a beginner. Obviously showing you where to put all your pieces, but then knowing the pattern markings before laying the pieces and what each one means. Fold line, seam line, cutting line, notches, circles and squares. It really goes into a lot of detail, this pattern. Obviously it's an old one, but I'm sure McCalls will still be doing that. Your fabric preparation layout, I need to pre-wash your fabric and steam iron it. Basically then telling you how to fold and lay your pattern pieces on your fabric, like so. And then just important notes. Finished garment measurements. It says, please note this McCall pattern has cutting lines for several sizes and select the proper cutting line or pattern pieces for your size. And then it goes on to show the layouts like other pattern pieces do. But again, you know, really, I think full instructions. So I'm going to go through that as we make this pattern together, as we make this dress using this pattern together, and I'll go through and show you each individual one. There's 2 sheets, and this says for A, B or C, all the instructions, and then the hem. I'm doing the D, so it's giving you what to do first. Put all your markings on the fabric, then start with your bodice, then your neck facing, sewing it all together, doing the sleeves next, and then the skirt, putting all the panels together, and then anything like buttonholes and buttons, etc. So yeah, I think it's a great pattern. I've also got some nice thin little pieces left when I was cutting out of everything. So I'm thinking maybe a tie, belt or something at the back. We'll see how we go. So we're going to go now and start this patchwork dress, and I'm doing dress D, and I'm putting the back bodice to the 2 front bodices together, and this is what I'm doing. So we've got this design against the navy, and then this design as well. So what I'm going to do is sew the side seams and the top seams, and I just had to patch that little bit up and put a little extra piece so it's long enough for me. Hopefully it won't be too noticeable at all. So I'm going to just do that, and then the next section after that, it says based interfacing to the wrong side of the front facing and back facing. And of course, anybody who's been with me for a while knows I haven't got any interfacing yet. So we'll sort something out in a minute, and then stitch the front facings to the back facings at the shoulders, put those on inside, and then finish the unnotched edge of the facing with a zigzag stitch, or turn under 1/4 of an inch and edge stitch with a conventional machine. I haven't got a serge overlocker, so I'll have to do it that. Then I'll pin those and stitch the facing to the neck and the front edges right sides together, matching the notches and centre and seams, and then cut diagonally and cut the seam allowances and clip all the curves, and then press it with an iron inside, so you've got all that top bodice section faced and all the edges nice and neat. And then we'll go on to the sleeves. So now what I've done is, with the facings, I've pinned it on the right side, so right sides together onto the outer edge of the top, and then I've already sewn them at the top seams, and what I'm going to do now is do a stitch all the way up and around and all the way around the back, and again down like this, and then turn it inside and iron it. And before I do that, just snip the edges, so cut the corners diagonally and clip your curves, just so that it will actually iron down nice and flat and neat. Right, so what we've done now is we've got the sleeves, so the right sides together, and we've pinned the sleeves in the armhole, and I usually just put the pins like this facing upwards so I can just sew over it. And then I'm going to put the other one in a moment when I can find it. Oh yeah. So I've hemmed the bottom edge of the sleeve on there, and I'm going to put the sleeve into the other side now and then sew it round. Right, so I've done the top as much as I'm doing today, so I've got the sleeves in, and then obviously I've put the facing on, and then that's going to come together later on obviously, and then the sleeve inside the facings, and then obviously on the back is all plain blue. So yeah, looking good so far. So I'm doing the bottom section now, so I've put all these panels together. There's 8 panels all together, and this is going to be the skirt, and I'm gathering it all in to fit the bodice obviously. So just going to double run stitch and pull it all in to make it a lot smaller than it is, and I'll show you in a little while. And I hope you're all well, and thanks for tuning in. If you're new here, welcome. I do lots of sewing, making, cooking videos. Lately it's been quite a lot of sewing, and yeah, thanks for joining. Please like and subscribe for further content. So let's get on with this patchwork dress. Right, I'm making a few adjustments. I've decided, so this is the top, I've decided that as I can get this over my head without doing buttons, I'm going to sew up the seam and put some buttons down, but they won't be in buttonholes. They'll just be sort of fake buttons, if you like. So I'm going to do that. I'll find some buttons, but I'm going to just actually sew it down because I can get it over my head anyway. So that's what I'm going to do. Obviously on this pattern you can either have buttons or not. Some of the other patterns don't have any buttons on at all. You see, I didn't notice that this had buttons on, which it does. So I prefer this A without the buttons, because the dress is big enough anyway to go over the head without buttonholes like these 3. So I'm reverting to that style. So I'm very pleased. I've gathered all this now up, so now's the time to get the skirt attached to the bodice now. So in the instructions it says here, you pin, then attach your skirt sections right sides together, matching the notches alternative colours, to machine base for gathering upper edge of skirt. Change your machine to the longest stitch length, stitch 5/8 of an inch and 1/2 an inch from the raw edge, and breaking the basting seams, do not backstitch. And then you pin your skirt to bodice right sides together, matching seams to the centre, front and back, and remaining seams to side seams and circles. Pull up your bobbin threads carefully, adjust your gathers to fit, secure your threads by winding around a pin in a figure 8 fashion, hand baste, and then stitch using a regular stitch length. Press the seam allowances towards the bodice. So it's crucial to take your time, really take your time with this, putting the bodice right side together inside the bodice and pin it I pin it every few centimetres all around, making sure that all the gathering is neat, letting it sort of hang in pleats and then pinning it, so we're getting that uniform pleat and drapage as we go along. So I've done all that now all around the edge. I'm going to baste it, which is sew it myself all the way around in big stitches several times, so it's going to hold the weight, and then we'll have a little look at it before we sew it to make sure that the gathers fall correctly, because once it's sewn in place it'll be terrible to unpick. Okay, right, always keep checking it, because what I've done is I've just sewn it and I've got a very big sort of strange sort of archway on this front section, so I'm unpicking it again all around here, and then I'm going to just drop it, because obviously I've not gone exactly straight. So, you know, always make sure you keep checking everything so it's all running correctly. And I think what I've done is I've probably not got it exactly straight on this line here. I've gone up somehow with the gathering, so I need to sort of unpick it and realign that central waist, dropped waist area there to make it straight across, and then we'll be getting nearer to finishing it. But you can see that bit of error there, this bit here. So I'm going to address this issue now, and I'll come back to you shortly and show you how it's going on. Right, out of some of the scrap fabric I've just made a nice tie belt, so just a nice long length of fabric. Sew them 2 pieces together, turn them inside out. This will pull it all in at the waist nicely. I've sorted out the waistband part again as well, but what I want is a nice bow tie on it, and then that'll bring the waist in as well. So we're just about to do the hem now. Get that straightened, and what I do is I lay it on the floor and I measure the length from the top shoulder and the back seams all the way down, and from the waistband as well, to make sure it's all even.